For our fourth anniversary in June, my husband and I decided to try something a little different and more spontaneous, a trip to New York City. Why New York City, you ask? Because of Nintendo. No, I'm just kidding, but also not really. My husband and I had both visited New York City separately before we met, experiencing the city in very different ways. Once we started dating, we often talked about going there together someday. We decided now was the time, realizing if we didn't go then, we might never get around to it. So we did. The first day, we had an early flight around 8 in the morning, so we woke up at 4 and got an Uber to the airport. Already, we were off to a start when our flight got delayed for a bit. We kind of shrugged it off, thinking it would be fine since it wasn't a huge delay. And so our day had begun. We got checked in and went through security. Then we got some food and went to our gate to wait, where we found out our plane was delayed yet again until 11. After spending some time walking around the airport, we finally boarded our plane. Thankfully, the flight went smoothly, and upon landing, we took another Uber to our hotel. The ride was quite bumpy, making us a little nauseous, but we don't really hold the Uber driver responsible for that. Unfortunately, we did arrive a few hours earlier than our check-in time. It was only around 1 something in the afternoon, and check-in wasn't until 3. The hotel was able to keep our luggage secured, however, so we were free to walk around before checking in. First place we went, the Nintendo store. It was only a 20-something minute walk down from our hotel, and that was the main thing we were looking forward to. Walking to the Nintendo store with my backpack full of electronics was definitely a mistake. The heat and humidity made the extra weight unbearable, and I regretted not leaving it behind. Entering the Nintendo store for the first time was an awesome experience though. My eyes lit up like a kid in a candy store. I just wanted to buy so many things, especially the Mario plates and bowl sets. We decided to wait until the next day because we didn't really want to carry stuff around with us when we hadn't even checked into our hotel yet. Also, my husband was asking one of the employees if they had any Switch 2s in stock, and we were told to come back the next day anyways, since they usually restock them from opening until around noon. So if you haven't gotten one yet and are anywhere near a Nintendo store, maybe try that out. Although as of today, I have noticed that there are more Switch 2s in stock at stores now. Afterward, we visited the Lego store. The Lego Hobbiton set immediately caught our eye, and looking at it kept making us think of the Shire music. We really wanted it, but its size made it impossible to fit into our luggage for the flight home. So instead, we settled for 2 small keychains. He chose a Lego Sonic, and I picked a Lego in a Pepper costume. We also bought some random race car assembly kits, apparently part of a larger collection. Mostly we just walked around, then we returned to our hotel to check in. I'm just gonna give you a little blueprint map thing so you can kind of get just how bad it was. This is what the lobby looked like the first time we arrived. And this is what it looked like when we came back. The line that was like non-existent before was suddenly super long, stretching all the way back. People were pretty upset and made it very obvious while we were waiting in line. After checking in and retrieving our luggage, we headed to our room to chill. We had a partial city view blocked by a building directly opposite our window. This wasn't really an issue though, since we didn't plan on spending much time in the hotel during our visit. After a short rest, we ventured out again. This time, I switched to my smaller Tom Talk bag with a strap. We were hungry and craved pizza, so we headed to Little Italy Pizza, which was conveniently close to our hotel. The sausage roll with marinara sauce was absolutely delicious. After eating, we briefly walked through Times Square and got a refresher drink from Starbucks. When we had crossed the road, someone had taken our pictures on the side and tried to sell us the photos while showing us the photos on their iPad. We just kind of shook our heads and continued walking, but my husband and I both kind of just looked at each other and admitted that the photos were actually pretty well taken and made us look good. Also, there are a lot of people dressed in Disney and Marvel character costumes trying to get people to have their photos taken with them, which was interesting to see. After Times Square, we went back to Nintendo store and got a small Pokemon plush. My husband got a cute Eevee and I got an adorable Psyduck. Look at them eyes! Later, we walked down to the Rockefeller Center and took some pictures. Overall, we just wandered around before heading back to our hotel, stopping by at a CVS to get one of those giant Gatorades since we were dying the entire time we walked even though we had water with us. And we pretty much chilled at the hotel for the remainder of the night, completely pooped out. Day 2. The second day was rather chaotic and full of plans that could have been spread out within a week or a day or 2 days or so, but no, we had to leave the next day, so we mashed everything together in one single day and just completely overloaded ourselves. Yay! To start things off, we got up a bit earlier, wanting to head over to the Nintendo store before opening hours. On the way, we stopped by this bagel shop and got some bagel sandwiches for breakfast along with some coffee before heading over to Nintendo. I was walking in front of my husband while he was navigating and I completely missed the line for the Nintendo store, which I must have really not been paying attention to since they had one of those crowd control posts that was red with Nintendo literally on it. We waited in line behind this mother and her 2 children, her son ending up being a highlight of our vacation. He looked over at my husband's shirt and asked him if it was Vocaloid, which it definitely wasn't. My husband didn't want to tell the kid where his shirt was from, so he simply diverted the kid's attention to my shirt. Hey, she's wearing a Hololive shirt though. The boy didn't know anything about Hololive. The son's mom soon joined in the conversation, and my husband tried to change the subject by asking if they were waiting in line for the Switch 2 and where they're from, while I stood there like the awkward introvert I am. A bundle of anxiety. They ended up being from the same place where we're from. Not telling you where, but it was one of those moments where you just instantly build that camaraderie just from coming from the same location. Also, the son apparently was lucky enough to find a Switch 2 at a Target, which was kind of mind-blowing considering how dang near impossible they were to find in stores at the time. But anyways, the line eventually started to move once the store opened and one of the employees came out to let everyone know that anyone who wasn't there to buy a Switch 2 could just walk right in, while those waiting for a Switch 2 had to stay in the line. That's where we separated with the family in front of us as they walked in. Through the window, we saw the same boy walk upstairs, crouching down to see us and giving us a thumbs up while mouthing, "They have a lot!" He was just so freaking adorable and we got a good laugh out of it. Soon, it was our turn to go inside and we waited in another line for the Switch 2. As we started moving and were almost to the counter, the same boy walked up and asked us, "Any luck?" We just smiled and told him we're still in line for one, and he wished us good luck before walking away. It was our turn next as we walked up to the counter, and my husband got the bundle with Mario Kart World. And here's where the ultimate surprise happened. You see, when we went to get a Switch 2, I was only going to support my husband in getting one. What I hadn't expected was for him to get me one as well as an anniversary present. It hadn't processed through my mind what was even happening as I just stood there while he asked the employee if he could get another one for me. So I have a Switch 2 now. My husband also got me the bundle edition with Mario Kart World, which we play the heck out of when we got back home from our trip. I was just completely speechless and try not to tear up because I hate crying in public. After getting our Switch 2s, we wandered around the store and went upstairs where we saw the family from earlier. We showed them that we got the Switch 2s and they were genuinely happy for us, the mom even giving us high fives. It was just a wholesome experience. We said our goodbyes and went our separate ways after that. We stayed behind and continued browsing, eventually buying a few more stuff, like matching Blue Shell t-shirts for Mario Kart, matching Animal Crossing hoodies, and this Animal Crossing container that we now store our coffee beans in. We also did get 2 Nintendo water bottles, along with some other stuff. Unfortunately, we didn't get the Mario plates and bowl sets, just because we were concerned about the space in our luggage and them possibly breaking. However, we did get the matching Mario apron and kitchen towels. We didn't want to carry our Nintendo purchase around, so we went back to our hotel to drop everything off before heading back out to continue our adventure. My husband took me to see both the M&M and the Hershey store. We didn't stay for too long in both stores, but it was nice to see all the different flavors and sort of relive my childhood. It was also just really tempting to buy a lot of candy, but we withheld ourselves since we wanted to move on and walk to Brooklyn. There's a coffee shop in Brooklyn that my husband got a recommendation for from Wolfden on one of his live streams on Twitch before our trip. So my husband wanted to check it out. We thought about Ubering there, but figured a 20 or so minute walk wasn't too bad, so we went on foot. It was a nice walk actually, and on our way to the coffee shop, we went into a store called Harry Potter World and checked out a smaller Lego store before we finally got our coffee and a pastry on the side. Both were really good, but I did have a bit of a mishap, which ended up with me walking around the rest of the day with a coffee stain on my light blue shirt. Good thing my bag had a strap over my chest to somewhat cover it up, though. Still, I was somewhat self-conscious about it. We went back to New York City and went to Central Park afterwards. At this point, I was getting pretty dehydrated despite having drinking water throughout the day from my water bottle I carried with me. I tend to get dehydrated very easily, and the heat and the humidity at the time was just an awful combination. I was practically dragging my feet, but I wanted to see Central Park at least. We didn't get to see everything since we mainly went just to go to the Central Park Zoo before heading back over to the Rockefeller Center to get some dinner. This was much needed, and I got a Chicago styled hot dog while my husband got a burger. The food was amazing, and we got some much needed rest before heading over to the NBC Studios building. We didn't get a tour or anything, just kind of walked in through the shopping areas and the gift shop before leaving. It was still cool though. On our walk back to the hotel, we got a bit sidetracked and ended up going to Buck Off, the Microsoft store, and St. Thomas Church, which was absolutely breathtaking. I'm not religious or anything, but my goodness, was this a beautiful place. We briefly stopped by a Target and Best Buy afterwards, Best Buy only making me feel out of shape and winded from the 3 flights of stairs. Then we went to a bakery right down the street from our hotel to eat some pastries before heading back. We ended up getting back before it got dark and we were just so exhausted. It was a short trip, but we really did a lot and needed a vacation from our vacation after we came home. Overall, I think we really did spend our time doing as much as we could, and we enjoyed ourselves and considered it a memorable anniversary. By this time, we've already played so much of Mario Kart World, and currently, I'm absolutely addicted to the recent release, A Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar, which was something I was looking forward to for a while since I've played the original Harvest Moon Grand Bazaar for the DS. Might make a video about it next, who knows. Let me know in the comments if that's something you may be interested in seeing. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope you liked the video. If you could be so kind to help support me and give a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, and hope you have a wonderful day. Bye!